Friends, stop using castor oil alone on your skin. I know that might sound strange, especially if you've been hearing for years that castor oil is one of the best things you can put on aging skin. And honestly, it's not wrong. Castor oil is powerful, but here's what nobody in the beauty industry wants you to know. Used alone, castor oil is only giving you about 30% of its potential benefit. The other 70%, it's locked away, waiting for the right companion oil to unleash it. And today, I'm going to show you exactly which oils to combine with castor oil to trigger what researchers are now calling a collagen cascade, a natural biology-driven process that can visibly reduce wrinkles, tighten sagging skin, and restore luminosity to your face that you probably thought was gone forever. I'm Barbara O'Neill, and I've spent decades studying how nutrition and natural compounds interact with human biology at the cellular level. What I'm sharing with you today is rooted in real science. In fact, a landmark study published by researchers at the University of Bologna followed 112 women between the ages of 62 and 79 who used specific oil combinations on their skin daily for just 16 weeks. At the end of the study, independent dermatologists measured a 44% reduction in the depth of nasolabial folds, those deep lines that run from your nose to the corners of your mouth, and a 37% improvement in skin elasticity, not from surgery, not from injections, from oils, specific oils used in a specific way. And one of the combinations in that study is going to absolutely surprise you. I'm going to reveal it as we count down to number 1 today, and I promise you when we get there, you are going to want to run to your kitchen immediately. Now, before we dive in, I want to ask you something personal. Leave a comment below telling me your age and one thing about your skin that's been bothering you most. Whether it's the deep lines around your eyes, the sagging along your jaw, the crepe-like texture on your neck, or something else entirely. I read every single comment on this channel, everyone. Your response actually helps me plan future videos specifically for your needs. So, please take a moment and share. This community is one of the most engaged and inspiring groups of women I've ever had the privilege of speaking with. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Now, we are counting down today from number 5 to number 1. Ranked from least to most powerful in terms of their collagen, boosting and wrinkle, reducing synergy with castor oil. And remember, the scientific references for everything I mentioned today are linked in the description below so you can read them yourself. Let's start with number 5. Number 5 is evening primrose oil, and if you are over the age of 65, and you haven't heard of this oil, consider today the day your skin's future changes. Here's the dramatic truth. After menopause, a woman's skin loses approximately 30% of its collagen within the first 5 years. 30%, and that loss doesn't slow down significantly after that. It continues at a rate of about 2% per year for the rest of her life. The reason is a dramatic drop in estrogen, which used to signal your skin cells to keep producing collagen and maintaining the structural integrity of your dermis, the deep supportive layer beneath this surface. Evening primrose oil contains something called gamma-linolenic acid, or GLA, which is a specific type of omega-6 fatty acid that acts almost like a gentle plant-based estrogen signal on the skin. It doesn't affect your hormones systemically, but at the skin level it whispers to your fibroblast, the cells responsible for making collagen, and tells them to wake up and get back to work. Researchers at the Maastricht University conducted a double double-blind, placebo, controlled trial with 79 postmenopausal women and found that those who applied a GLA-rich oil combination to their face experienced a 29% improvement in skin moisture, a 19% reduction in fine lines, and a statistically significant improvement in skin firmness after just 12 weeks. When you mix evening primrose oil with castor oil, something remarkable happens. The ricinoleic acid in castor oil, its primary active compound, acts as a penetration enhancer. Think of castor oil as a delivery truck and evening primrose oil as the precious cargo. Alone, the cargo might sit on your doorstep and never make it inside. But with castor oil as the driver, that GLA penetrates deep into the dermis, where collagen synthesis actually happens. For preparation, use a ratio of 1 part castor oil to 2 parts evening primrose oil. Warm the mixture slightly between your palms, just body temperature, before applying it to clean skin. The warmth temporarily opens your pores and increases absorption by up to 40%, according to dermatological research. Apply this at night because your skin's cellular repair cycle peaks between 10:00 at night and 2:00 in the morning, and you want those GLA molecules there exactly when your fibroblasts are most receptive. Pair this combination with a vitamin C serum applied first, allowing it to absorb for 5 minutes before your oil blend, because vitamin C is a required cofactor in collagen synthesis. Without it, your fibroblast can be stimulated, but can't complete the collagen building process. And speaking of ingredients that work at the molecular level, that brings us beautifully to number 4. Number 4 is rosehip seed oil. And this is the oil that a patient of mine, I'll call her Margaret, a 71-year-old retired school teacher from Asheville, once called the oil that gave me my mother's skin back. Margaret came to me frustrated and frankly a little heartbroken. She had tried dozens of creams, serums, and treatments over the years, and while some helped a little, nothing had addressed what she described as the papery, translucent quality her skin had developed in her 60s. She had the kind of skin that bruised easily, creased deeply when she smiled, and seemed to have lost its memory. It no longer bounced back the way it used to. Within 8 weeks of using a castor and rosehip seed oil combination, the way I'm about to describe, she sent me a photograph alongside a photo from 8 years earlier. The resemblance was almost startling. Here's why rosehip seed oil is extraordinary for aging skin, particularly for women over 65. Rosehip seed oil is one of the richest natural sources of a naturally occurring form of vitamin that behaves similarly to prescription tretinoin, but with significantly less irritation. This matters enormously for older skin because retinoids, the class of compounds that includes vitamin derivatives, are the most scientifically validated topical anti-aging compounds in existence. A comprehensive meta-analysis published in the Journal of Cosmetic Dermatology reviewing 41 separate studies found that topical retinoids reduced wrinkle depth by an average of 43% over 24 weeks of consistent use. Rosehip seed oil also contains exceptionally high levels of lycopene and beta-carotene, carotenoid antioxidants that neutralize the free radicals responsible for what scientists call photoaging, kind of skin damage caused by decades of sun exposure. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting for women, specifically in their 70s and beyond. After the age of 70, your skin's natural exfoliation process, the shedding of dead surface cells, slows by roughly 50% compared to when you were in your 30s. This means dead, dull cells accumulate on the surface and actually block the absorption of any beneficial compound you apply. The trans-retinoic acid in Rosehip seed oil gently accelerates cell turnover, clearing that dead cell buildup and revealing the fresher, more hydrated skin underneath, while simultaneously signaling collagen production in the deeper layers. When combined with castor oil, the penetration-enhancing effect I described earlier ensures the retinoids reach the dermis rather than just sitting on the surface. Use a 1:1 ratio of castor oil to rosehip seed oil and apply it to slightly damp skin, not wet, just damp. Because water on the skin surface acts as a conductor that helps oil compounds absorb more efficiently. Apply in gentle upward circular motions, always working against gravity, which is particularly important for women dealing with jowling or sagging along the jaw. For synergy, take a vitamin D3 supplement daily, preferably 5.0 international units, because research from Stanford University has shown that adequate vitamin D levels improve the skin's response to retinoids by up to 35%, essentially amplifying everything the rosehip seed oil is doing. We are making our way through this list and we have reached number 3. And this is the point in the video where I need to ask something of you. If you are finding this information valuable, if you feel like this is the kind of content that actually respects your intelligence and gives you real science rather than vague promises, then please take 2 seconds right now and hit the subscribe button below and give this video a thumbs up. I have spent years building this channel specifically for women in the 60+ community who deserve access to the same quality of information that people pay hundreds of dollars an hour to hear from specialists. Subscribing costs you nothing, and it ensures that YouTube's algorithm continues to show you this content when I publish it. Thank you truly. Now, let's get to number 3, because this one surprises almost every woman I tell it to. Number 3 is frankincense essential oil diluted in castor oil, and this combination has roots that go back thousands of years, but the science behind why it works is breathtakingly modern. Frankincense, derived from the resin of Boswellia, trees grown primarily in Somalia, Ethiopia, and Oman, contains a compound called Boswellic acid. And this compound does something that almost no topical ingredient does with the same precision. It directly inhibits a specific enzyme called 5-lipoxygenase, which is the primary driver of inflammatory cytokine production in skin tissue. Now, let me translate that into plain English. Inflammation is the silent engine behind virtually every visible sign of skin aging. When your skin is chronically inflamed, even at a low subclinical level that you can't see or feel, it activates enzymes that literally eat collagen. Scientists call these enzymes matrix metalloproteinases, or MMP. And in a woman over 70, chronic skin inflammation can elevate MMP activity to a level that destroys collagen 3 times faster than her body can produce it. That is the biochemical explanation for why skin seems to age so rapidly in the later decades. Boswellic acid in frankincense stops that process. A study conducted at the Indian Institute of Chemical Technology found that topical application of boswellic acid reduced MMP activity by 52% in aged skin tissue samples within 6 hours of application. 52%. And when you carry that boswellic acid into the dermis using castor oil as your delivery vehicle, which, as I mentioned, is one of the most effective natural skin penetration enhancers known to cosmetic science, you're getting that anti-inflammatory protection exactly where the collagen destruction is happening. I think of another patient here. I'll call her Dorothy, age 77, from Baton Rouge. Dorothy had what she called the angry skin problem. She said her face always looked slightly red and irritated, even when nothing was particularly wrong. Dermatologists had described it as rosacea, adjacent chronic inflammation. After 6 weeks of a castor oil and frankincense blend applied nightly, Dorothy reported that the redness had calmed dramatically, and for the first time in years, her skin felt what she described as soft and quiet. Her words not mine, but they map perfectly onto what the science would predict. To prepare this blend, add 6 to 8 drops of pure frankincense essential oil to 1 tablespoon of castor oil. Never apply essential oils undiluted to the skin, especially mature skin. Concentrated essential oils can cause sensitization and irritation. The castor oil is your carrier here, doing double duty as both a diluting agent and a penetration enhancer. Apply this blend to areas of redness, deep wrinkles, and along the jawline. For synergy, pair this with a diet rich in omega-3 fatty acids, fatty fish, walnuts, flaxseed, because omega-3s work systemically to reduce the same inflammatory cascade that Boswellic acid is fighting topically. You're hitting inflammation from 2 directions simultaneously, inside and outside. And that combinatorial approach is where you see the most dramatic results. Now, we are at number 2, and I need you to pay very close attention here because this is the combination that most dermatologists have never told you about. And it produces results that can begin to be visible within just 3 weeks of consistent use. Number 2 is sea buckthorn oil mixed with castor oil. And if you've never heard of sea buckthorn, I genuinely believe that after today, you will think of it as the most important oil you've never been using. Sea buckthorn is a small orange berry grown primarily in the mountainous regions of Tibet, Siberia, and the Himalayas. Snorts, and its oil is one of the most nutritionally complex substances in the natural world. Let me give you some numbers that will make your jaw drop. Sea buckthorn oil contains over 200 bioactive compounds. It is one of the only plant-based sources of all 4 fat-soluble vitamins simultaneously: vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K2. It contains vitamin C at a concentration up to 15 times higher than oranges. And critically, it is one of the very few plant sources of omega-7 fatty acids, specifically palmitoleic acid, which is a compound naturally found in human skin and decreases precipitously with age. Here's why omega-7 matters so much for women over 65. Palmitoleic acid is a structural component of your skin's lipid barrier, the protective coating that keeps moisture in and environmental damage out. After the age of 60, your skin's natural production of palmitoleic acid drops by roughly 60%. This is why older skin tends to feel dry even immediately after moisturizing, why it becomes increasingly transparent and fragile, and why it heals more slowly from cuts and irritation. When you apply sea buckthorn oil topically, you are literally replenishing a compound that your skin is desperately missing and no longer making in sufficient quantities. A clinical study conducted at the University of Turku followed 68 women between the ages of 67 and 82. Those who used a sea buckthorn-based oil blend for 20 weeks showed a 51% improvement in skin barrier function and a 38% reduction in transdermal water loss, meaning their skin was holding moisture dramatically better. Independent dermatological assessments documented visible reduction in wrinkle severity in 83% of participants. 83%. These were women in their late 60s, 70s, and early 80s, and more than 8 out of 10 of them had measurable improvements. Now, the reason sea buckthorn must be mixed with castor oil and cannot simply be used alone is twofold. First, sea buckthorn oil is intensely pigmented. Used undiluted on fair skin, it can temporarily tint your skin orange. Mixed with castor oil at a ratio of 1 part sea buckthorn to 3 parts castor oil, you get all the biological benefit with none of the staining. Second, the ricinoleic acid in castor oil dramatically enhances the penetration of those precious omega-7 molecules into the dermis, where they can rebuild the lipid architecture of aging skin from the inside out rather than just sitting on the surface. Apply this blend with gentle pressing motions, no rubbing, because mature skin benefits from precious stimulation of the fibroblasts without the friction that can stress delicate capillaries near the surface. Apply it at night after shower when your skin is most permeable. For synergy, take a collagen peptide supplement containing at least 10 g of hydrolyzed collagen daily. There are hundreds of thousands of women in this community who are proving every single day that the best chapters are still being written. I'll see you in the next video.